Yesteryear in Nashville, a journey into the past with the people who made country music history. And now here's your host, Archie Campbell.
He travels to an average of 350 towns a year with the last real old-time medicine show in existence today. And we'll be right back to talk with him after this message. Our guest today is not only a great entertainer, but is also keeping alive a part of history with his genuine old-time medicine show. It's good to have you with us. Tommy Scott.
It's good to be with you, Archie Campbell.
There you go. You know, all the time since we've been doing these shows, everybody comes on, especially the older ones, have worked in medicine shows.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people don't even know what they are.
Well, you know what? We might as well, for them that don't know what a medicine show is, we might as well tell them right here on your show. What do you think?
That's right. A medicine, like, like Acuff, for example.
Right.
Roy worked with medicine. Started out that way, so did I.
Right.
And
Buffalo Bill,
right.
had a medicine show. There's Pawnee Bill.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, John Hamlin had Hamlin's Wizard Oil. Now we're digging way back 100 years ago or more. Mark Twain actually traveled with a medicine show. Did you know that?
No.
He did. And, Carl Sandburg wrote a poem about a medicine show. He loved medicine shows. He'd like to get out and travel with them, in the summertime.
There was something about, it's the greatest thing in the world, to travel, even before cars.
Right.
Even before automobiles.
Yeah. It all started 2,670 years before Christ. There's history goes back that far to China is where the herbal medicine thing started. Then 400 years ago, like in England, there was a type of medicine show, not like what I think is a real medicine show now and what the masses of people think of it. They'd have a monkey or organ grinder or something, and create attention. They'd pitch their herbs, roots, barks, and berries. But then when the settlers came here to the United States and Canada, they found that the Indians were using herbs, and they had Indian medicine men and so on. Show people got involved, you see, because they found that Sunday afternoon you'd find if somebody picked a banjo or guitar over at some of Joe's house, there'd be a bunch of people around, Old medicine doctors took advantage of that. That creates a crowd. That's what we got to have. Let's put them on.
What was the big one in Louisiana?
Oh, Hattie Call was the biggest of them all.
That guy was really a promoter, and
Senator
they
LeBlanc.
traveled and they did it was all country music.
Yeah, Hank Williams was on that show.
Right.
Minnie Pearl was on it,
Yeah.
Now, I didn't class that, Archie. I didn't class that as a real platform medicine show.
No, but it's where the medicine show went big time.
Yeah, it was uptown medicine show is what it really was, yeah. Now, then, you go right on into television now, but the only television show that I really classed maybe as a little bit as a medicine show would be Porter Wagner, there with his Black Draught and Soltis.
Chatham Drug.
Yeah, Chattanooga Medicine Company. And Soltis, was a rub-on liniment. So old Porter was up. He had really a television medicine show. I wonder if he even knows that he had it that way. If he thought
I'm sure he did. He's a little bit young for that, but
right.
Speck, for example.
Yeah.
Speck. Speck Rhodes.
He's the medicine show comic.
He was absolutely the perfect type of
tooth black type. Yeah. That's
he was the comic you always had. You had music. I remember how you used to do it, and the guys I worked with, we would go out and play and get their attention. The crowd would get there, and the old man, the doc, would stand by. Said, "Now's the time, boys. Let's do it."
There were some big artists started. You take old Doc Lewis, had a traveling medicine show, and there was a guy come around that had never been in show business very much. His name was Red Skelton. He's become pretty well known, later years. You know what Red Skelton said about Doc Lewis? After the Pure Food and Drug Act came along about 1906, then it put a lot of medicine shows out of business. There's a lot of shysters got into it.
Oh, yeah.
They got to putting cocaine and all that kind of stuff in, and they had them old ladies coming up there on the walking cane. They'd take a swig or two of that stuff and have them climbing the wall, And, so the FDA got involved, and that's really how come that's really why the Pure Food and Drug Act was passed. Well, it nearly put a lot of them out of business during this era, you see. So they started pulling teeth then. The old docs had to still keep going. They'd still go and put a free show on, and they'd say, we're going to be in Timbuktu on Wednesday, so anybody that's got abscess tooth or one that just needs yanking out, come on down, and they'd put the ads up in the free show Red Skelton swears he is hired on old Doc Lewis's show, and he said they'd put a few bits on and have the crowd out, and they're just passing them right through that back door, and he's back, a great big old guy like a blacksmith, and he'd stand on their feet, you know, and yank them teeth out.
Yeah.
Well, that hurt. They didn't have no painkillers or anything in them days, so Red Skelton says that old Doc Lewis put him beating the drum over there, and he said, I was on that show 6 months before I found out, just before he'd yank every time, he'd say, beat the drum, and he'd bang, 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 so they could hear the poor guy yell. Well, really what they were, you know, there was a thing back there, you know, around the turn of a century, and they would go from town to town, Chautauquas, and they'd do, well, they'd like be in Timbuktu tonight, and next Thursday night they'd come back with a new play. It was a play type thing, went on for 2 hours. Well, the medicine guy had to do it quicker, so then they got to breaking down these long 2-hour plays to about 7 or 8 minutes. You know, your hee-haw is really a medicine show right now.
Sure it
it's
is,
just one bit after another, and it's been broken down into this, you see. Then now it's got to where, of course, old Doc Chamberlain is the guy that I started with. He came to my hometown and in 1936, and you couldn't make a living down there hardly at all, digging around cotton and corn. And I said, Lord, there's got to be an easier way of making a living than farming. So I went up with my guitar on my back, and he hired me up $6 a week, and I slept in the wagon. And he gave me the formula. He started, what's now is my show, Archie, was started in 1890. And Doc M.F. Chamberlain started, and he's the guy that had the snake oil. He's the one that put the snake oil together.
Let me interject this little item here.
Uh-huh.
You're billed as the last real traveling old-time medicine show, and that's authentic, right?
That is correct, right. They've took studies, historians, and the Smithsonian Institute, and just many people have took studies. And I didn't even think about this till 6, 8, 10 years ago. And there's a few, you find a few after-dinner speakers, but it's not for real, you know, and they've not been in the business. I've never had another job in my life except with a medicine show. And I play 350 different towns a year, and we've done it for 50 years.
Tell you what, let's do. I want you to describe a typical medicine show to us. How many people travel with it and things like that. Just tell us all about it.
All right. Now, there was three types of medicine show. One was the big tent show. There never was too many of those, but Doc Bartok had one, and they put on a free show. Now, he could seat 4,000 or 5,000 people in his tent. Free show, and then, of course, they sold everything from juice harps to gourds, you know, and, of course, the medicine was the basic thing that they paid their bills with. Then there was the platform medicine show. That's where there would be about 6 or 8 people. And
that's the kind I worked.
That's probably what you worked, right.
Outside, the only cover was over the thing.
Yeah, right up over the thing,
yeah.
Correct. Now, you had to mix the medicine after the show at night for tomorrow night's show, and everybody doubled. It usually was a man and wife team, blackface comic, and his wife would dress up in a nice evening gown and feed the lions to him. Of course, the comedian always got the blunt end of the gag, you know. Yeah. And they would double and do many different things. I still do that on my medicine show now. Everybody in my show does 3 or 4 different turns. He might be a magician in the first part of the show, and he might be the guy doing the shooting act a little later on. But
how many people do you carry?
15 people on the stage, actually.
Really?
Yeah, and we double in dollars. 100 people eat out of the pot.
We're talking with Tommy Scott, and we'll be right back after this. We're talking with Tommy Scott about the old-time medicine shows. Tommy, as you established earlier, because some of the guys, as it developed later in years, got to be fakes.
Yeah.
And they just took advantage of it to make money.
That's right.
It was a shame.
Yeah. The Kickapoo Company, at one time, had...
The Kickapoo?
How you like that name?
I like that.
Now, Kickapoo Medicine Company. They had 10 legitimate shows going at one time. But, you see, news traveled slow back in those days, in the early 1900s, late 1800s and so on, wagon and mule teams and so on. So if a shyster came into town under the name of Kickapoo, everybody would believe that, and they had heard how good Kickapoo medicine was and so on, and they would buy it. Now, these fakes found out this, and at one time there was supposed to have been 100 Kickapoo shows on the road, and there really wasn't but 10 legitimate ones. 90 of them were fakes, you see. But by the time they'd get in and pitch and leave town, you see, why it'd take so much time, they'd move to some other town by mule and wagon, and the log could never get there in time. He'd be folded up and gone to another town, you see.
So it hurt the business, the legitimate people.
Yeah. Doc Chamberlain always had a good medicine. His tonic laxative was the Herb-O-Lac, and it's an herbal compound, a laxative tonic. Yeah, you take, like if you're bothered with the ills of constipation, you take one little spoonful of the stuff, and if you pretty well
You still sell it?
Yeah, still sell it, but we don't sell it now in the bottle. Like to see this old bottle, don't do this anymore because it's, you know, gasoline's so high and you got to have extra trucks. We are in a tablet form now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 30 little tablets, same as a bottle of this. But like I started to say, you take, if you're bothered bad with constipation, one little spoonful, two if pretty bad, take 3 of them, and tomorrow morning you'd be hard to catch. It'd work, though, Archie. It's a good laxative.
I understand you do a lot of traveling in Canada. You go outside the United States.
Right. We've been going 28 years to Canada, and I'm usually up there about 2.5 to 3 months during the year. When the birds go north, the Dr. Tommy Scott Medicine Show goes north, you say.
And you worked with a very well-known person on a trip in Canada.
Yeah, Margaret Trudeau. I was on her show last year.
You were on her show?
Yeah, I was on her show.
When she got a television show?
She got a national television show up there.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, nice
pretty little thing.
Yes, she's a cute little lady and a nice little lady to work with. I enjoyed it very much. And I do the Tommy Hunter show up there every 2 or 3 of those a year.
There's another fine guy, Tommy Hunter.
Oh, ain't he a great guy?
Yeah, he's a great guy.
And I'm telling you,
got a great show too.
The one thing about him, though, he can look down on you about anywhere he's standing.
That's
that
right.
boy is about 6 feet and something tall.
Oh, he's about 6'5" at least.
But I do his show up there, and it goes national. And I do quite a few television. I don't fool with television too much, Archie. I'll tell you, we didn't do it at all until about 3 years ago, and Charles Corot came out and did a piece with me, and from then I've been on the Today Show and a few others. But my way of operating is still like the old-timey medicine shows of years ago. We go into town, in a small little town, try to do a good enough show to where that they'll say, well, are you going to somebody be sitting in a barbershop and see one of our trucks go by? They say, well, what's this? Doc Scott's medicine shows in town. Is it any good? They'd say, well, I don't know. Last year, why, it's pretty good. We go back. And that's repeat business is what keeps us
Do you
going.
have admission to the show?
Yeah. Now, we have to charge admission anymore. You can't make enough money on the sale. Now, a lot of people, nostalgia buffs, will buy it as a souvenir. Mm-hmm. And then we have a lot of people that swear by it. I've got people that use the snake oil.
Do you have some of these bottles for souvenir purposes?
Yes. There's a limit. The one I gave you there's a limited edition.
Oh, is that? Oh, it
That's
is.
just for celebrities like you and so on. Like that's a limited edition. But then the regular snake oil is in this same type bottle here that we sell.
It's approved by the FDA.
Oh, yes, yes.
The people I worked with in medicine shows, they really believed in their product.
I do.
And the people like Scalf's Indian River Medicine, they stayed in business for years.
I'll tell you what, and I'll put it to you this way. To start with, that snake oil was nothing but turpentine and white gasoline and camphor mixed up. But that camphor is a good medicine. You say, well, our medical people out there watching us now say, you know, it is good. Yeah, well, then the next question is, well, why don't they use it more? Well, you can buy a 50-gallon drum of this stuff for not too much money. There's not enough money made in it. That's why. Now, we've updated the snake oil. Doc Chamberlain come along when ether came through, and he put ether in it, you see.
Well, tell me, don't tell me that you put white gasoline in it.
White.
You still do?
No, not now. We got pure grain corn alcohol in it now.
That gasoline can do anything but kill you.
Well, now here, there's no chemicals in it, see. In that white gasoline, there was no chemicals. Now, here's what it was for. It was for 2 reasons. One, so the bottle wouldn't freeze and bust in the wintertime. That's one. Second thing was to make it penetrate. Now, you see, you can take white gasoline, or a little pure grain alcohol, pour it in the pan of your hand, and a minute later, it'll come through on the other side. Now, if you put camphor in your hand alone, well, the oil in your hand won't let the camphor penetrate, and it won't go in to do the job. But it'll go ride right through with that gasoline, you see, and it'll go right through. Gets right into the bloodstream. And it's good for tired, sore, aching muscles, and that's the way it penetrates.
Hallelujah.
Yeah. Now, let me tell you another one. Yeah, hallelujah, it worked. You see, when Doc put the ether in there, we used to have a lot of fun with this. He put the ether in the liniment, and back then the shoes were made out of leather, you know, had pores, grains, you know, not like the plastic. So here's some old guy standing out here in the audience, you know, and he have a big bunion or corn down here, and Doc would get him up on the platform. And all the brothers around and know old Joe had a bad corn. Get on up there, Joe, get up. So old Joe, he'd get up on there, you know, and Doc would reach down and say, feel it? Woo, yes, sore, woo. And then the next thing Doc would do, he'd just take a bottle of the snake oil and just souse it on there, you see, on the outside. It'd penetrate right through and carry the ether with it right onto that old corn that was just so sore he couldn't hardly bear to have it touched. Doc would go into the pitch then a little bit for about a minute, to tell what was in it and so on. And while he's getting that message over, that ether was putting that corn to sleep. And he said, do you feel that? No, no. You feel that? No. Well, do you feel that? No. He said, you see? And then, boy, you should see them bottles going out. See? And it really worked. Really worked.
Was it $1 a bottle then?
Yeah, $1 a bottle then.
That was a lot of money, though.
It was, right, yeah.
But it was worth it.
Yeah, it would work. And you know, a lot of people say, well, wasn't that a little on the fake side? No, just look at any number of painkillers you take now. It don't cure the problem. That did not cure the corn, but it did stop it from hurting for a while.
Oh, we're going to have a commercial break right now. We'll be right back to tell you all about the Old Time Medicine Show. Now, I've seen your act, of course, and it seems to me that y'all dress like peanuts.
Yeah.
Why is that?
My original band, just three of us, me and two other guys, a banjo player and a guitar, and the fiddle is my original band, and they call it the Georgia Peanut Band.
At the Old Time Medicine Show, medicine man, a pitching the birds at the Old Time Medicine Show. A bottle for $1, a $2 hat, monkey on the team just to make you laugh. Medicine man, a pitching the birds at the Old Time Medicine Show. A long tall man with a great big grin, convincing pitch will always win. No matter if the weather is hot or cold, he knows them birds have gotta be sold. Medicine man, a pitching the birds at the Old Time Medicine Show. Medicine man, a pitching the birds at the Old Time Medicine Show. A bottle for $1, a $2 hat, a monkey on a chain just to make you laugh. Medicine man, a pitching the birds at the Old Time Medicine Show. A medicine man, a pitching the birds at the Old Time Medicine Show. Medicine man, a pitching the birds at the Old Time Medicine Show. A bottle for $1, a $2 hat, a monkey on the chain just to make you laugh. Medicine man, a pitching the birds at the Old Time Medicine Show. Hey, hey, now, medicine man, a pitching the birds at the Old Time Medicine Show. The bottle?
Yes, we see the bottle.
It's full of the stuff.
Yeah, it's full of the stuff. Now you can trust the bottle.
Yeah, we trust the bottle.
And tell them you got it at the medicine show. Shake well, key bottle, the cure-all, and Mother Nature's herb, fruits, berries, and wine. Shake well, key bottle, the cure-all, guaranteed to make you feel fine. Guaranteed to make you feel fine. Now, if you've got the itch so bad, takes two to help you scratch, scratch, scratch. And if you can't hit thunder, cause your ears are full of wax. What's that? If your sugar booger's dad keep calling you a dirty heel, don't let your nerves get shook up or let out with a squeal. Don't take a dose to a cure-all and your trouble gotta go. And tell them you got it at the medicine show. Take well, key bottle of the cure-all, Mother Nature's herb, fruits, berries, and wine. Take well, key bottle of the cure-all, guaranteed to make you feel fine. Take well, key bottle of the cure-all, Mother Nature's herb, fruits, berries, and wine. Take well, key bottle of the cure-all, guaranteed to make you feel fine. Take well, key bottle of the cure-all, Mother Nature's herb, fruits, berries, and wine. Take well, key bottle of the cure-all, guaranteed to make you feel fine. Guaranteed to make you feel fine.
That's great, Tommy. Now, Tommy, of course, you've already accomplished a lot by preserving the medicine show as a part of American history. But now, if you could have one lifetime goal that you'd still like to achieve, what would that be?
One lifetime goal that I could have achieved. Well, let me
Something
think.
you haven't done.
Something that I haven't done. I don't know of a thing in the world that I haven't done that hasn't happened during my time being and owning and operating and performing for a whole lifetime on the medicine show. I just can't think of anything that I would rather do or have happened than just what I'm doing right now.
Suppose, let's suppose now that we have an audience after, which we do have a few people. These cats here, see, they're a good audience. Could you give us a pitch?
Oh.
You ever do that like you do? You
Yeah.
know?
Now, as I
The old-time way, maybe.
The old-time way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say now, we do it like if a gospel quartet, you know, is going to sing a hymn, they take their hat off. Well, when we do the pitch now on the show, we don't romp and rave. We take our hat off and we do the pitch, and just like talking to them in the living room. See, television's educated, but a lot, then after we get through with that pitch, then we go into the show, and the show is exactly the way it was in the 1890s, and that's when they'd romp and rave, and that's what you are asking me right now as to how they done it way back, right?
Yeah, well, let's suppose now that I've wanted the band, and I've gone out, and I've got the people all stirred up, and they're enjoyed it, and about as many people as are going to come are here now.
Right.
It's time to sell the medicine.
Yeah. All right, the old doc wants to get them up as close as he can, so he'll start talking real soft like Sister said.
They can't hear, so they come.
They'll say, "What'd you say? What?" And they get closer. You got to get them where you nearly touch them on the head, and then you just nearly scare them to death, Arch, by saying, "Hey, look this way. Doc Scott's last real old-time medicine show. And now if you're feeling down and out and you don't know what to do, seem the world's done crushed you and your friends turn their back on you, nature's pathway to health will help you. Try a bottle of the snake oil today. Rub it on as it's plainly directed, and it'll chase your aches and pains away. A little small rubbing in the morning and another noon and night. Why, you'll feel so well, you'll want to yell. Whoa, the stuff will make you right. Made out of herbs, roots, barks, and berries, and it's gathered from many parts of the globe and blended into one strong yet effective snake oil rub-on liniment. Good for the entire family, old folks, kids and all. And there goes a bottle to the right, and another one to the left, and the last bottle to old Arch over here. The old Doc Scott done sold out again. That's the way they used to do it.
Did you ever sell out? Really sell out?
Well, really sell out. Now, that's a different question
yes,
right
it
there.
is.
See,
You don't ever sell out.
Never. I can always find a few bottles.
Yes, sir. But you leave us in. Well, we have a few more left. We have a few bottles left, but you better have enough left. You don't want somebody to walk away wanting the bottle.
Worst thing in the world is when you close the show down to say, "Well, did somebody have one bottle left?" That's a disaster right there. I'd always think, well, I could have sold that one more.
Who are some of the other members of your troupe?
Old Bleb is my comic, Archie. He's been with me 37 years. We kid him, tell him that he's trying out. If he likes, he might stay. But he's been with me all these years. He's the guy that drinks the bottle of medicine on our show, the throwaway, where we throw it upside the wall. And he's the guy that drinks the medicine and goes through with the bits and the comedy on the show. And he plays guitar, fiddle, and just an all-around good man. Sure. And then we've got the Annie Oakley type sharpshooting act. We got the magic where we turn a little dog into a gorilla that runs into the audience and scares the very life out of them, you know. And juggling, unicycle riding. It's different to a regular country show that way because the old-time medicine shows had to have many different types of things to create attention. Right.
Actually, a variety.
A variety type thing. Exactly right.
We've been talking with the proprietor of the world's last real old-time medicine show, Dr. Tommy Scott.